What is a man? What attributes make one great? How can I live up to true masculine ideals? Movies like High Noon helped me understand how to do just that. Welcome to the Positive Picture Show, where I gush about movies that I love. Fiction's greatest purpose is to act as a safe playground of unreality in which we can learn very real, very tangible lessons about life. Movies have given me a lens through which I can learn about important truths about heartbreak, about struggle, about love and glory, about heroism and adventure. Something that movies have taught me a lot about is manhood, what it looks like in action, what it can be at its finest, what its purpose is in society. I wanted to share some of these valuable truths with you through a new series of videos I call Lessons in Manhood from Movies, so that we, together, as best we can live up to our potential as men. Yes, these lessons are applicable to women too. Everybody has something to learn from great men throughout film history. But my audience today is primarily men, especially young men who are venturing off into this journey of identity and self. It is your choice how to exemplify your masculinity, and I hope you choose to be the greatest version of yourself possible. Today I want to talk about the 1952 American classic High Noon. For those of you who haven't seen it, the premise is pretty simple. On the day of his marriage and retirement, Marshall Will Kane finds out that the deadly and vengeful criminal Frank Miller has been released from jail and is coming back to town on the noon train. While en route to his honeymoon, Kane feels it's his duty to come back and defend the town against the madman and his posse. Now at first, the marshal thinks it'll be an easy solution.
I'll swear in a bunch of special deputies, and with a posse behind me, maybe there won't even be any trouble.
But as the High Noon train ticks closer and closer, Kane discovers that no one will stand with him. He's given up his wife, his future, and possibly his life for his duty, but no one else will even lift a finger.
We all know what Miller's like. That's why I'm here.
Kane worked tirelessly to clean up the town. He rooted out corruption and gambling and prostitution, making the place
fit for women and kids to live in.
Don't you remember when a decent woman couldn't walk down the street in broad daylight? Don't you remember when this wasn't a fit place to bring up a child?
Even though to many, the town seems insignificant and not worth fighting for.
Look, this is just a dirty little village in the middle of nowhere. Nothing that happens here is really important. Now get out.
Kane knows it's his duty to defend it. There's nothing insignificant to a man in the line of his duty.
It's all for nothing, Will.
It's a genius film with relentless tension told in real time, with the stress of the High Noon train beating down on every scene. And throughout it, it perfectly depicts the ideal man, fortified by ideals and duty, unwavering in determination and courage. The four virtues I want to highlight that Marshall Kane exemplifies are integrity, humility, courage, and determination. Early in the film, Kane approaches his deputy Harvey Pell to aid him in the arrest of Frank Miller. Pell is angry with Kane and blames him for not promoting him to Marshal after Kane leaves. It isn't explicitly said if Kane didn't suggest Harvey for the position or why, but you get the sense that Harvey is a bit too impulsive and undisciplined for the job. Harvey threatens Kane and says he won't stand by his side when Miller comes if Kane won't give him the promotion.
You want me to stick? You put the word in for me like I said.
Sure, I want you to stick, but I'm not buying it. It's got to be up to you.
He flatly refuses to be politicked or leveraged into making decisions that aren't his own. He stands by his integrity even when his life is desperately on the line. It would have been easy to lie to Harvey just to get his support in the moment, or to suggest Harvey for promotion even if he wasn't qualified. But Kane decides to do neither. He is true to his values no matter the cost.
Anyway, I'm the same man with or without this.
The toxic perversion of masculinity would say that men can never be vulnerable, that vulnerability is a weakness, and that admitting your mistakes lessens your power. High Noon goes against this belief. When overcome by his temper, Kane punches out the bartender for speaking up against him. The bartender instantly calls out Kane for acting brashly and outside of his legal right.
You carry a badge and a gun, Marshall. You had no call to do that.
Now, Kane is the marshal and could have easily silenced the bartender and asserted his dominance over the whole situation. But instead, he apologizes and even offers to help the man up.
You're right.
Well,
Kane isn't afraid to ask for help or admit his fear. He puts himself at the mercy of the entire congregation when he comes in.
I need help.
When asked if he's scared to face Frank Miller, he doesn't brush off the question or puff up some machismo answer. He admits his true feelings.
you scared?
I guess so.
To Kane, there doesn't seem to be any value in loud speeches or aggressive displays of power or braggadocio. The only value he has is in his living up to his virtues.
It takes more than big broad shoulders to make a man, Harvey.
Kane has 4 separate interactions that all spell out different reactions to danger. When he approaches Sam to ask him for help, Sam forces his wife to lie to Kane so as to protect him.
Now, what do you want? Do you want me to get killed?
A weak man, when his courage is tested, will make others protect him and flee from the danger himself. Jimmy, the man with the eye patch, begs Kane to let him fight, but Kane refuses. He does the same thing with the young kid who wants to help near the end. In both of these cases, Kane turns them down knowing that the more courageous thing is to face danger alone, rather than letting those who are unable or inexperienced to be caught in the line of fire.
Well, I got no use for Kane, but I'll say this. He's got guts.
Lastly, Herb. Herb is the first man to volunteer to help. He's gung-ho about it.
You can count on me. You know that, don't you?
But once he finds out no one else is coming to help, he backs down. He gets fearful. He was ready to be brave and fight for his town when there was security in numbers, but it's much harder to stand by your convictions when you stand alone. Kane rises to the occasion. Herb shrinks from it.
There's a limit how much you can ask a man.
But the most defining trait, the most signature virtue of Marshall Will Kane, the most powerful theme throughout the entire film is determination to do your duty.
It's no good. I've got to go back, Amy.
Kane isn't motivated by power. He isn't motivated by prestige. He isn't motivated by attention or glory or pride. He is motivated solely and purely by duty.
Don't try to be a hero. You don't have to be a hero, not for me.
I'm not trying to be a hero. If you think I like this, you're crazy.
He knows what his job is. He knows that people are counting on him, even if they won't say so. He is a man of pure conviction, a man of honor, a man willing to lay down his life for what he knows to be right.
I've got to stay.
When facing down the barrel of hardship, when caught in the crucible of decision-making, a man can only rely on one thing: his might. His might to fight for what he believes, his might to defend those that need defending, his might to be true to who he is. That's what makes a real man. That's what makes one great. It isn't about belligerence. It isn't about dominion. It isn't about aggression or force. It's about strength of character.
They're making me run. I've never run from anybody before.
It's about being integrous even when no one is watching. It's about being humble even when it would be easier not to. It's about being courageous against all odds. It's about living up to your duty when the world is swirling against you. Sometimes a man has to choose violence. Sometimes a man has to choose boldness. Sometimes a man has to do the dirty work, finish the hard jobs, make the unpopular decisions. It isn't about grandiosity or showmanship. It isn't about glory or recognition. It's about duty. It is incumbent for a man, when in the line of his duty, to stand resolute no matter what comes. Will Kane is a great example of a man buoyed up by his virtues, doing all in his power to fight the good fight, no matter the odds. In the end, all that matters is how much you live up to your ideals.
Kane, if you're smart, you will get out too.
I can't.
I know.
If you enjoyed this lesson in manhood, like this video, comment below what film you think I should do next, subscribe to get notified of the next lesson. Farewell.